I'm Phil Constantine, and on this episode of Travels with Phil, we're going to be visiting an icon of World War I and World War II. From the state of Texas, the Battleship Texas, BB-35. Yes, the Battleship Texas, it's the only World War I, World War II ship still left. It was commissioned in 1914, and it's still around. This is when it was first built there in 1912 in Newport News. This was part of the opening day ceremonies. But before we get that, where is the USS Texas now? It's located out of Houston on the Houston Ship Channel next to the San Jacinto Battlegrounds, the spot where Texas won its independence. The Texas fought in World War I, World War II in the North Atlantic, North Africa, D-Day, Southern France, Iwo Jima, and even Okinawa. And in 1948, it was decommissioned and moved to a mooring slip in the San Jacinto Battlegrounds, where it's been anchored ever since, except during repairs. And you can see it here next to the Battleground Monument. The USS Texas is second of its name. It's the first battleship to mount anti-aircraft guns, to use control fire with range keepers, the first battleship to launch an aircraft, first one to receive production radar, and it's the first permanent museum battleship in the country.
June 6th, we started shelling the Omaha beach.
We started firing first. This time they fired the guns. I see that old barrel go back, you know. Holy cats, it broke the darn thing already. That's just what I said. Holy cats.
Well, during World War II, the Texas participated in the attacks in North Africa to help the Free French. In Normandy on D-Day was one of the command ships. In Cherbourg in southern France. And then over in the Pacific on both Iwo Jima and Okinawa. Only one or two hits landed on the Texas, and one of those was a dud. Well, in 1948, it was sent to the San Jacinto Battlegrounds and given to the state of Texas, and there you can see it. And this is a picture of it with the San Jacinto Battleground Monument in the background. Well, in 1989-90, it had to be taken in for repairs to Galveston. Now, it actually floats here in this slip along the ship channel, and that's the Houston Ship Channel there in the background. And a very impressive battleship. Again, one of the only dreadnoughts from World War I and World War II still around. Now, Texas won its independence here on the San Jacinto Battleground, so they figured that was a good spot to put it, especially since there's a ship channel right next to it, so it literally has a slip underneath that it floats on but can sit in. Now, in this year, they've had to take it again to do some extra repairs because of leaks and rust. So a flotilla of tugboats towed it up the Houston Ship Channel and then eventually out into Galveston Bay and then to the city of Galveston, where they're doing a lot of work, a great deal of work. And it's not often you actually get to see the bottom of the battleship. Well, this is it. Some folks were very kind to allow me to use some of their drone video where you can see the work going on in the dry dock. And a lot of rust, especially below the waterline, because you got to realize this is an over 100-year-old battleship. So you can see it in the dry docks, completely out of water. Now, this is an enormous ship. Those are 14-inch guns, the main guns there. And every once in a while, you'll see a person in the scene, so that gives you some idea how big it is. That's a fairly large piece of construction equipment down there on the bottom. And a good view from overhead, some of the anti-aircraft guns on the side, superstructure. You see two guys down there. Now on the right-hand side, those are what they call the anti-torpedo blisters. And this was so if a torpedo hit, it wouldn't hit the main part of the hull of the ship, and perhaps it'd be able to survive that way. So let's take a look back around the USS Texas, and I'll tell you a few stories. This was it during its 1913 speed trials. 1918, this is the navigating bridge, the Panama Canal, twice, 2 different times, in the harbor of Havana, Cuba. Now, off of Cherbourg, it's one of the few times it actually got hit by enemy shells. And I volunteered on the Texas in the 1970s. This is the slip at the San Jacinto Battlegrounds, and it actually floats here. Next door is the San Jacinto Inn. Well, during the summers, they would take some black powder, put it in these 5-inch casement guns, and set them off just for some excitement for the tourists. Well, one day a guy was doing it. He looked out the window. Nobody was around. Put it in. Set it off. Well, unfortunately, a motorcycle rider came down that short road there, and it went off right in front of them. They didn't manage to crash, but how often can you say that you were shot at by a battleship? Now, also here are pictures of the silver service that the Texas has, and it has a couple of them, one from the citizens of Texas and one from a city in Europe. And one day the manager told me, he said, go down there and polish up that silver. Well, you see these cups down on the bottom down there. They have sort of a yellow tint on the inside. Well, I tried to clean that out, and it took about 10 minutes and still wasn't making any headway. Finally started to notice a little bit of a difference. And then, I went to the manager and said, what's up with this? And he says, oh my goodness, that's a gold wash. You shouldn't be cleaning that out. On another occasion, I was walking on the superstructure that you see here, had my hand on the gun railing, and suddenly my foot went all the way through the metal plating below, where there had been so many layers of gray paint over it, you couldn't tell it had completely rusted all the way through, and my foot was just dangling 30, 40 feet above the wood below. Fortunately, because my hand was on the gun railing, I was able to stabilize myself and not fall all the way through. Let's take a look at the Texas with a variety of photos here, contributed by Public Domain and other folks who are generous enough to let me use it. Various pictures throughout: the heads, the sleeping quarters, the canteen, the dentist, barbershop, the teletype rooms, the engine compartments. Lots of stairs. When I volunteered on the Texas, lots of climbing there. And it looks really old. Well, it's because it is old. It's over 100 years old. But when it was first built in 1914 through 1917, it was the most technologically advanced ship in the entire world, definitely in the American Navy. At the time, it had the biggest guns in the world, one of the largest ships ever built for its period. But yes, it's worn a lot over the last 100 years. So as it slowly sails off into sunset, what's its future? Well, that all depends on volunteers, donations, groups, foundations, and governments. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please feel free to make comments below as long as the language is family friendly. And if you like this video, please click on the thumbs up button below. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the circle with my picture in it in the lower right hand corner of the video. The arrow is pointing at it now. And once you have subscribed, you can be notified of when I have a new video posted by clicking on the bell icon in the description field below the video. Thanks again for watching.